Well, whether it's on land or in the sky, for many of us, traveling has become part of our lives. But how do you handle certain travel situations if they arise? And with us now is our etiquette expert, Nancy Mitchell. Thanks for being here today. So we're going to get right into it. The first question, if you hitch a ride with someone and you're both going to the same place, the same destination, do you give the driver gas money?
I would certainly offer. And when the whole arrangement is set up, I would say I'd be happy to pay for half the gas money. Please accept it and see what they say. If they say, no, thank you, I'm going there anyway, you've offered, I wouldn't make an issue of it. Don't offer more than one time. Just say, well, next time it's on me.
That's an easy way to approach that situation. Yeah. So basically, this is one I'm sure everyone can relate to. You're on a train, a plane, or a bus, and a child near you is being disruptive, and no one seems to be doing anything about it. Do you say something to the child or to the parent?
You know, I think I'd go one step further, and I would say something to the flight attendant. It's really their responsibility to keep order on the plane. I think that you can really ruffle feathers if you go straight to the parent or straight to the child. I would never go to the child. I would go to the flight attendant and say, is there anything that can be done? Back up even further from that and just put yourself in the parent's shoes. The child is tired, may not feel well, may have earaches from the altitude, who knows what's going on. Give somebody a break and try to be understanding. We've all been in that situation where something isn't working for us on a flight. Do the best you can.
All right, the other one that many people probably want to know, what is the proper etiquette when you're using a cell phone and you're using public transportation at the same time? I mean, we've all been in those situations where someone's on the plane gabbing before you leave the gate, or you're on a bus or a train. How do you handle that situation if it arises, and what should people be doing if they're on their cell phone in those situations?
Well, they should absolutely be following the rules, and we all know what they are because they're announced before a flight takes off. We are told to turn off our electronic devices. You need to follow the rules. And again, it's not our job as a passenger to correct another passenger. It's the flight attendant. Go to a flight attendant and say, there's someone back here who is disturbing us. They have not turned off their cell phone. You know, we often feel like we are turning someone in or that sort of thing, but it's really how the comfort, if you will, and the situation for the most number of people is what is the main concern there. It's not that one individual. They really need to follow the rules, and maybe sometimes people need a nudge in order to do so.
One step further than that, if you're, let's say, on a train, a subway, or a bus, and there is not an attendant nearby that you can go to, and basically the person's talking loud and they're not being respectful, at that point, can you say to somebody, you may want to take it down a notch here?
I don't think you really can. In fact, you put yourself in a precarious situation in these times when you confront someone on a one-to-one basis that way. If you're on a quiet car, on a train or something, that's different because there are rules. If you're on a subway train, you're on a city bus, there's really nothing that you can do. I think you can either get up, move to a different seat, get off the car at the next station, move up car, whatever you can do if you're uncomfortable. I would say the times we live in, you really do not want to confront somebody else about that. But shoe on the other foot, if that's you, think about the other people around you. You know, do you want to be having a private conversation about your life with 30 people listening? I don't know what goes through people's minds now when they have these conversations in public spaces.
But just don't confront them unless there's an attendant there or someone who can handle it for you.
I really wouldn't.
All right, so we're going to go back on the plane now. This is one, a lot of people, if you're flying, you're near the window, you got the window seat, and somebody who's sitting next to you in the row with you asks you to close the shade because the sun's bothering them or they're afraid to fly. Sitting next to the window, do you have full control of that shade? I mean, this may sound ridiculous, but it's happened to people. How do you handle this situation?
You know, I like to say that we're a member of a community, and in that case, you're a community on that airplane. You really truly should try to do something that would make somebody else comfortable. If for some reason you need to look out the window, you're trying to take a picture or whatever, you could just do a compromise and say, do you mind if I leave it open for the next 5 minutes? I'd really like to get this photograph of the New York skyline as we're coming in here, or something like that. And then the compromise is you close it later. I would have a discussion. I wouldn't dig my heels in about something like that. Why not make somebody's day by agreeing to something that makes somebody else happy too?
So just do it, but within reason, or?
Within reason, and I think it harks back to the #1 etiquette rule, and that is think about other people before you think about yourself. make somebody else feel comfortable, why not?
All right, next one is obviously something that we all can relate to, whether you're flying or on a bus or on a train. You sit next to somebody. Is it appropriate to sort of engage in conversation with them or strike up conversation, or do you feel them out first? Because there's always those moments where you're sitting next to someone awkward and it's like, do you say something? Do you just sit here silent? What do you do?
I would always say good morning or good afternoon when I'm getting into a row in a plane or something like that. For heaven's sake, you're going to be 3 hours in very close quarters with someone who's sitting 2 inches away from you. I would say hello. I would say, you know, some small talk or something. Very quickly you can read somebody's signals. You can read body language. Do they want to talk? Do they not want to talk? I would pick up the signals that yes, they are someone who wants to have a conversation. No, they are not. If you're on the other side of that, someone is very chatty, wants to talk to you for the entire duration of that airplane flight, close your eyes, put your headphones on, pull out the magazine, answer the 1 or 2 questions that you are engaged in yes or no answers, and hopefully they'll pick up your signals as well.
And that was my next question. On the flip side of all this, what if they're not picking up those signals and they're talking your ear off and they won't be quiet and you just want to be left alone?
That's when I'm going to close my eyes and lean back in my seat and try to carve out some personal time and space for myself.
And hope that they get the hint.
And hope they get the hint.
All right, Nancy, thank you for being here with us today. We appreciate it. And for more information, or basically if you have an etiquette question that you want to weigh in on, you can go to our website, delmarvalife.com.
And that is some good information. Thanks, Brian. We'll see you a little later on in the show. Up next on Delmarva Life, do you have coins or other valuables you often thought about trading in for quick cash? The Gold Store joins us to tell you what you need to know before visiting the dealer. Delmarva Life at its best here on Delmarva.